Jacob is about to meet his brother Esau. He hears that Esau is coming to meet him with 400 men. Presumably, if Esau is coming to meet Jacob and he's got 400 men with him, it's not going to be a tea party. There's obviously violence which is being planned here, and Jacob plans accordingly. Jacob prepares in three ways. He first of all tries to negotiate. He sends presents to Esau. He tries diplomacy. In addition, he prays to God. And in addition, he prepares for war. And Nachmanides tells us that the main reason that this entire section of the Torah has been written is to teach us for all generations that this is how we have to confront our enemies, meaning it is not enough only to negotiate. You also have to be prepared for the worst eventuality, prepare for war. It's also not enough to negotiate and prepare for war. You've also got to pray, because our fate ultimately is in the hands of God. But it's also not enough just to pray. You've also got to prepare for war, and you have to prepare for diplomacy. In other words, the Torah is giving us a very balanced approach. What it's saying is we should not automatically be prepared for war with enemies. We should try to negotiate, as the state of Israel has done. For example, we have a peace treaty with Jordan, cold peace, yes, but a peace treaty. Peace treaty with Egypt, yes, which has worked. Working on détente and some form of diplomacy and economic treaties with various Gulf states, with Saudi Arabia, all this is actually fairly successful. However, we understand that we also have to have a strong army, and we have to prepare for the eventuality, God forbid, of war. And in addition, however, we understand that having a strong army and being prepared for diplomacy and negotiation is also, in and of itself, not enough. We also have to have prayer, we have to have spiritual merit, which is also something which we have to work on. And Nachmanides says this is not just a lesson for back then, it's a lesson for all times, because everything that happened to our ancestors will be repeated and happen to us in the future, and they are creating type of pathways in time and space for us to follow those pathways that our ancestors actually walked in. And I think nowadays there are unfortunately people who are extreme in only believing that everything is only negotiation. We have to compromise, we have to negotiate, and there is room for that, but that cannot be the only path. And there are those who believe the only path is military, and it has to be conflict and there has to be military power. And there's a need for the military. I was in the IDF. I have 3 sons who served in the IDF. One is serving now, but I understand that that's not the only path. And there are some who believe that you don't need any of this type of stuff, of diplomats and the army. All you need is prayer, right? And that's also not true. Prayer is important. Prayer is essential. Prayer is vital. But it's not enough. You also have to do your own efforts, whether it's in military or in diplomacy, in either one of those areas. So the Torah, I think, as usual, is giving us a very balanced approach. The word halacha, which is the word for Jewish law, is intimately related to the word halach, which means to walk. We know that walking needs balance. Right? If your inner ear is messed up, if you don't have balance, you can't walk. Right? The entire huge bulk of our body, no offense to anyone, is balanced on tiny, a few square inches of the bottom of our feet, of the sole. That's not, and the center of gravity is pretty high. So the way we walk is because our brain is continuously adjusting for the balance. So that's what halacha is about. It's about walking through the world, but adjusting always with a certain balance. Diplomacy, prayer, military might, all necessary, all the things we see from Jacob. Let us hope that we will not need any of those, and we look forward to a time that God will bring peace to the entire world. As the verse in Isaiah says, nation shall not raise sword against nation. That's something we pray for. However, even though we pray for that, we prepare for diplomacy, we prepare for war, and it's something which the Jewish people are familiar with adversity, but we deal with it in the way we deal with it, in a balanced way. Halacha, Jewish law, walk along the path of the world, but keep your balance. This is Mordechai Becher with the Gateway's Parsha Vlog. Have a wonderful Shabbos.